Yeah, my mother told me because they were they were coming around. The FBI was asking her friends, and so she knew they were on her tail. You know what I mean? On her trail, whatever. So she told me what to say, like if they came around to bother me, because I think they'd already come around once. But this was, I don't know how old I was, maybe I was 11 or so, 12. I forget how old she was when she, just say, I have nothing to say to you. Don't change the words at all, no matter what they say. And she made me repeat it. I have nothing to say to you. I have nothing to say to you. Those were like the magic words. I think those were the words that had been recommended by people who had been who were being prosecuted, persecuted, investigated, whatever, by the FBI. They had found those were the magic words. Because if you say, I don't know anything about it, they can then later accuse you of lying, right? Maybe you do know something about it. Or if you got to be very, the most innocent reply can actually get you into trouble. But first of all, it's very dirty to go around asking somebody's son or a family, to say something, supposing I did know something, I'd heard something, maybe I'd seen something, and this got my mother into trouble, and then she went to prison because of it, right? That would be a terrible thing for me, right? So what the hell are they asking a kid something like that, right? But anyway, that's just to show you what kind of bad faith they're using, no? But anyway, they came around, I think, and then I said, I have nothing to say to you. Then the FBI guy said to me, no, that's not what we only wanted, blah, 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 we only want, blah, blah. I said, I have nothing to say to you. And then he knew that I was prepared, and he looked at the other agent, and they shrugged their shoulders and left, I admire songwriters. I mean, I was just listening with Miyoko, the song today, the song by The Temptations, by Runaway Child Running Wild. You know that song?
No.
I have it. If you want to hear it, I can play it. But I really admire the creativity of these songs. This is a song about a kid who runs away from home, And what I admire is whoever made up this song, how did he think it's going to make money for him, right? Because a kid who runs away from home is not going to buy this record, right? Right? So there's no money from him. And you would think a grown-up is not going to be interested in a song about a kid running away from home, right? So where's the money? But they see, but actually it's a kind of an allegory, about our lives. You know what I mean? Very deep. These songwriters I really respect. This is hard work, I always wanted to write some songs. I was telling Evans, Larry Evans, this was back in the 60s, I remember. I said, I listen to all these songs, and I wish I could write that, but I try to write something, I try to think of something, and I just, nothing comes out. And he says, yeah, because you haven't lived. And I started thinking about it. He's right. This is true, But no, the thing that where do these people get these ideas? How do they know this is going to put money in their pocket? It's just the opposite of chess. Chess, you can be running up the same moves in seconds, 20 moves that's been played 1,000,000 times before. It's so. I mean, I'm not saying there's no creativity in chess. Of course there is, but it's much more structured, and you're much more difficult to get it out. It's because, you know, but this is the creativity of pop songs I really admire. Because in a very few words, these words are as precise as a mathematical formula. You know? So that's a part of the fascination for me. If a song doesn't have good lyrics, it usually won't interest me. I'm very interested in the lyrics. But on the other hand, I'm not very interested in poetry.
You're not?
No, I'm not. I don't care. So, but maybe this is my substitute for poetry. I don't know. You know?
It is poetry, of course.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in poetry that's not set to music. It doesn't turn me on at all, and I can't remember it or anything, you know? Somehow I consider it effeminate, you know? I really don't like the chess players in general. They're not my kind of people. They are very petty. They, you know, they're mean-minded, petty, small-minded, stupid. I don't care. I listen to, a lot of times I listen to the radio. I listen to jazz musicians, and they really seem to love each other. But the chess players don't love each other very much at all. Part of it is the competition, and a part of it is just the kind of people who go into chess, you know? But it seems to me the people in the show business world are not as mean-minded toward each other as people in the chess world. That's my clear impression. They're more in competition with themselves to do the best they can do, whatever, rather than with other people. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if I were in show business, I'd find out that they're bastards too, you know. But that's my impression, you know? But I think Miyoko said something the other day which is very true. We're back, yeah? No, I was just talking about all this backbiting and mean-mindedness in the chess world, you know? But Miyoko made a perceptive remark. She says it's because the pie in chess is very small compared to, say, show business. So everybody's fighting for a piece of this small pie. I think that perhaps that's an explanation, or part of the explanation for the you know, jealousy and backbiting among the chess players, you know? Who do I look up to in history? Let me think. Who was a great man?
Nobody comes into mind?
Yeah.
Other people might say, well, I mean, Gandhi, John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X.
Yes, Malcolm X, I think, had real qualities of greatness. And I think he was evolving very much before his death. He had a very, you know, narrow-minded, he was locked into a very narrow-minded religion, this black Muslims, you know, Elijah Muhammad group. But when he broke with them, I think he was really becoming much more broad-minded. Hopefully he would even have given up Islam, you know? Although they say he would not have, but I don't really know what he would or would not have done. But the man was brilliant, you know? But he was certainly becoming much more broad-minded than before. Because this Elijah Muhammad is a very, very narrow-minded group. They had no dancing, you couldn't go to see movies, you know? Ridiculous. But he still proclaimed Islam to the end, but maybe he would have given that up. My beef, I have a lot of beefs with Islam, even though I sympathize very much with all the injustices that have been done to the Arabs, you know, and the Palestinians. I have to be honest and say I don't, dig Islam at all. I think that there was a very perceptive remark on the BBC a few years ago. This BBC woman, she was talking to someone from the Middle East, an Arab or Iranian or whatever. This is all about Jew against Islam. That's what this whole problem in the Middle East is about, isn't it? That's what. And the Middle East guy says no. He says religion has nothing to do with this. He says the Jews want what we've got. They want our oil. They want our land. This has nothing to do with religion. And I think that's really true.
Well, Sami would not want to be a part of any religion that would not allow dancing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Are you a good dancer?
No, I'm not. No.
You don't dance?
No.
Well, when you were getting your titles in chess, he was getting his titles in rock dancing in Iceland as the rock king.
Yeah.
Probably about the same time.
Yeah.
5, 6.
Yeah, no, he's a great dancer, but I will match his musical knowledge any day.
Oh yeah, he will. I noticed that.
Yeah, but let me finish what I was saying before. I'm not condoning this.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
simply saying.
But you are kind of condoning
No,
it by
I'm simply
by your equivocal attitude. You are condoning it a bit.
Bobby, I'm trying to.
Yeah, you are.
Trying to form a rational view of this, not this completely impulsive, complete lack of inhibition, corporalia that you use about everything.
What is that? A what? Corporalia?
Corporalia.
What is that?
That's just profanities.
Corporalia.
Corporalia.
Was that Latin?
That is Latin. That is what you almost.
Corporalia. Yeah. Coprolalia. Lalia. Coprolalia. What does that mean in Latin?
That means basically string of profanities. That is what the people with Tourette syndrome.
No, but what does it mean in English? The words corporalia.
Corporalia. That means it is basically fecal language.
Fecal language.
Yeah, basically, you basically.
Fecal. You know what fecal is? Shit. You
basically, give the impression now and then that you have Tourette syndrome, all right?
Yeah, I know. The Jews are saying that about me in many places.
They do?
Yes, many places. That's their latest line.
Is that you have Tourette?
Yes, Tourette syndrome. I looked it up later because they kept saying it about me so much. Named after some doctor, right?
Gills to Tourette.
Yeah. They were upset about the way I say Jews, They were spelling it Jooz, the way he says it, They didn't like it.
You're a piece of work.
You should take, Simon is really worried about it.
Yeah, I know.
He's really getting the
Everybody's worried about
He's
it.
getting the heat. So you should
Everybody's worried, but, I wish people were so upset about these Jewish crimes against me as they are worried about my answering back. You
are out of control, Bobby Fischer.
Why don't people want to put these people who've committed these crimes against me in prison?
Because basically what you are doing now is demanding that we put an entire nation in prison. Because you insist, have done so at least 10 times since we started to talk together, that all Jews are bad and all Jews are criminals. And your statements are so meaningless. Because you are using this judgment about everyone who belongs to this nation, instead of focusing your anger at those who committed crime against you, not an entire nation. That is unfair, it is stupid, and it's ineffective. And besides that, no one is guilty unless, unless proven guilty. And it's not enough that...
Nobody says that about me.
Oh, yes.
Really? They say, I'm saying all these things against the Jews, huh? It's wrong, you say.
You are saying all these things against the Jews. I've been listening to them.
Yeah. But they're well-founded. They're well-founded,
They're well-founded. They are not well-founded. To say that all Jews are bad, how is that well-founded? That's just bullshit.
I explained to you...
You did not explain anything to me. This is just utter, thorough, unadulterated bullshit.
I explained to you, Kari, that if the good Jews, right? Why aren't the good Jews talking against the bad Jews, the so-called good Jews out there?
Oh yes, there are. Very good people, wonderful people.
Yeah, but why aren't they talking against...
Absolutely unbelievable.
Why aren't the good Jews screaming against the bad Jews?
Probably because they do not agree with you that they are necessarily bad.
Then they're not such good Jews.
They are not good Jews because they do not agree with you. That's a strange criteria.
No. You're a debater. I'm not into debating. This is not good for me.
I'm not. Just because you have no argument, you say you're just a debater. It's not good for me. When you're asked to support.
No, what I'm saying. No. What I said is.
What you said doesn't make any sense. Let's just eat and think about Fischer Random, which is a great invention.
All these guys like Kari, they in college they learn debating. Yeah, they actually learn debating. How to superficially win an argument, how to make the other guy look like a dummy. I am not into that.
Bobby, you're saying that I am superficially winning this argument and you are profoundly losing it. Is that what you're saying?
No. Again, this is debating society tricks.
Like a joke.
John also is into debating and all these people have been to college,
But if you're a public figure, right, you lose certain rights. And you claim that you're a public figure. And you are. And you want to enjoy the benefits of it, but you don't want to pay the price for it.
No. The point is, these big companies, they're obsessive about their so-called rights, no? They've got all these rights, intellectual property rights, no? Which are endless, right? Nobody can touch their rights. But they trample on other people's intellectual property rights all the time.
They don't.
They do.
No, you don't have intellectual property right to your name. You don't have intellectual property right.
Let's move on to another subject. The U.S. government gave Learning International the right, the trademark of Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess, right? What do you say to that? Is that correct?
No.
But they did it.
I find that peculiar.
Well, I mean, supposing I wrote to the U.S. government, and I said to the U.S. government, I want to trademark Tiger Woods plays golf, or Tiger Woods teaches golf, or something, right? What do you think of the chances of them giving it to me? Nil, right? They say, who are you to suck Tiger Woods' blood? You don't even play golf. Why should you make money from Tiger Woods?
I find this story implausible that they granted a company.
Look, go get the CD-ROM. Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess. It says it right there. Get it. It says it. I'm not making it up. Also, I saw in the newspaper that searching for Bobby Fischer also is a trademark of I think Viacom or Paramount Pictures. Also.
It is a picture that has nothing to do with Bobby Fischer.
But they have trademarked my name. Why can't I trademark Tiger Woods' name? I want to make money from Tiger Woods. I have a right to make money from him. I have a right to make millions and billions from Tiger Woods. Why can't I do that?
He isn't doing so bad these days.
Why can't I make billions from him? I have some good money-making ideas about making money from his name. You know? I want to make billions of dollars from Tiger Woods' name. Why can't I do that?
Well, have you?
I know I don't play golf or anything, but I have these money-making ideas. I want to make it. You know.
Have you considered contesting those guys?
As I told you, I don't have. If I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in court. I've already been in a number of lawsuits in America. And I always get laughed out of court, and it's completely controlled. It's a joke. I want to make money from Tiger Woods. Why can't I make money from him? The fact that I never played golf, so what? I have a right to make money from him. Just like Viacom has a right to make money from me. No?
To me,
Huh? You're very quiet now. Now you're getting very quiet.
no, but just eating. To me, you're beginning to sound like an unhappy, frustrated old man who is completely obsessed with the possibility that someone has made him money by using your name, and you somehow feel that you need to get even. This is uninteresting. This is not particularly endearing.
What would the press say about me if I tried to make money from Tiger Woods' name? They would say, Fischer is a parasite, he's a disgusting person. Why doesn't he find a way to make money from playing chess or from doing something on his own? Why does he want to suck Tiger Woods' blood? Right? That's what they would say. But nobody says that about Viacom or Paramount Pictures, right? Huh? Or Learning International, right?
Right.
Huh?
I know nothing about Learning International.
They're the ones who got the trademark for Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess.
I think that ought to be a very easy challenge in court.
Why did the government? Why did the? Why?
Cooperation with him. But
Huh?
were you at some time in cooperation with those guys?
Yeah, I wrote the book. I mean, the Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess. That doesn't get, but there was never any talk about them having a trademark. I never gave them a trademark.
Are you sure that was not the small letters?
No, as a matter of fact, on the internet, I published the contract with Learning International. That's right. Not in the small print at all. When you give somebody a trademark on your name, you're giving them carte blanche to use your name forever.
That is not a trademark for your name, that's a trademark for the name of a book.
Yeah, but they can take that trademark and they can make a CD-ROM. They can make anything they want with it. They can say this is a Bobby Fischer chess clock. I mean, Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess clock. This is a Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess sweater. This is a Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess whatever. This is Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess studio. Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess hotel. Bobby Fischer anything they want.
I think, Bobby, it sounds like you just did not, that you were not careful enough and you negotiated the deal with him.
I never gave anybody the right to trademark my name, ever.
Don't you think that approximately a month would be a good time for the referendum with Stefansson?
Yeah, if it can be done. The quicker the better. If it can be done quickly, yeah.
It can be done quickly.
If it can be, yeah.
But because of the influence that the Jewish community has on the media,
Yeah.
lay low with your anti-Jewish comment until we are done with this, all right?
No, this I can't promise, no.
I'm not asking you to promise. I'm just telling you you do.
Oh, I can't promise.
You have been, because otherwise I will have to resort to physical violence. You will not. No, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Otherwise
I understand, but
otherwise we'll not be able to cut a deal on this.
Yeah.
With the television station.
Yeah.
The international one.
Maybe you have to find some Arab network or something.
So he had not lost his sense of humor, that's for sure.
But how much money will he get?
We need to,
No, I'm serious. I don't think you can count on any of these type, Western networks for money. No.
I'm not counting on them for money. I'm counting on them for distribution.
Yeah.
There are, the value in all of this lies in so many places.
Yeah.
It lies in the direct monetary value of what you get out of it, and then it lies in the sort of intangible value that lies in the distribution because of the next match that you want to play.
I've never understood these things, precisely, very well, I just understand these things very generally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but when you're starting this,
Yeah.
it's extraordinarily more important than exactly the sum of money you would get for the first match. It's the exposure that the match is going to get.
Yeah.
Because that creates value for the next match.
Well, it's very important to promote this game. I think this game is very exciting. It will catch on. The interest in it will catch on.
As soon as
Once they see it,
As soon as you have played these two games,
Yeah.
these two matches, the Hjartarson and then the Kasparov, this will catch on like wildflower.
No, I think it'll catch on like wildfire right away. As soon as people start to see the games, how exciting this new chess is, and as I say, you have a diagram in the newspaper before every game.
Yeah.
The starting position.
Yeah.
I mean, you start just the diagram is so exciting, no?
Yeah.
Just to start thinking about the game
and
even before it begins, right?
Fischer, mind you.
Well, you don't have that at all in the old chess, right? It's absolute. Who gives a damn about the old starting position, right? It's so old hat. It's so boring, right?
This is also an equalizer. Remember, this is an equalizer. This is going to make people much more even.
Yeah, right.
I think we should call this a day. In the early afternoon tomorrow, we will meet with Hjartarson.
I went to Bobby, and the day we came, an incident happens. That was regarding food, which I got just from Bobby. I wasn't there, but he said that the guard was sort of walking him because he walked by more than once, and he didn't give him any egg. And he said when he walked there a second or third time by the door, could I have another egg? And he sort of smiled, so...
Just to clarify that, Bobby was being sarcastic. Normally you're supposed to get an egg as part of your breakfast in the prison,
course,
and
yes.
he didn't get it, and then to point out how unhappy he was, he said, "Can I get
another egg?" Yes, that's it. So he was something revolting him. So Bobby is a man of temper, as you probably all know. So he understood that he put his hand out a little, using his cellar, that I understood, and grabbed in the breast and shirt of the prisoner guard, and when he went back, he turned his shirt. And about a few moments later, it came, he said 14 or 15 guards, whole army, and took him and pushed him down and dragged him to the next cellar. Was a solitary room with no windows or anything. And he was down there in the floor with plenty of people, guards holding him. And then came some person, older person, he said, that he didn't know, probably the boss of those prison guards. And he said, "You're a prisoner here, you should do like you're told," and a few other things or something. And Bobby said, yes, okay. And somehow his arms got loose and he smacked him in the face. And he said, "I probably broke his nose, I don't know, but I heard he went to the hospital." That is just what he said, and I hope I wasn't told this in confidence, because otherwise I would have kept it to myself. But I always think it's good to be honest and told right thing. I don't have to beat around the bush. I just tell you how it goes.
Oh, well, no, that wasn't really the egg. It was just I was getting angry, you know. That was the first incident. I asked for some... I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you know?
Yes, that's right.
So then I said, "I want 2 eggs," which I normally was shouting at them, you know?
Yes.
And then, well, there was some commotion, and somehow I didn't get any egg, you know?
Right, yes.
And they were walking down, and then I grabbed one through the bars. I grabbed a guard.
Yes.
And I pulled him up against the door, you know?
Yeah.
Then he bumped into the door, and then as he's falling back, my hand is in his pocket.
Shirt, yeah.
So his shirt rips down, you know?
Okay, yes.
Then he got upset about his shirt.
Yes.
And then they came into my cell, like 10, 15 guards.
Yes.
Took me to
Closed room. Or
to an isolation room very nearby. Carried me into an isolation room. So then they were holding me down, and then like this old little Japanese guy says, he says, "You are our prisoner. You will do everything we tell you. Do you understand that? You will never disobey us. Do you understand that?" I say, "Yeah." Then they all let go. Then I punched one of the guards in the face, you know, very hard.
Yeah.
And then they were very vicious. They put my hands behind my back in some kind of arm cuff, not just a handcuff.
No, the arm
very
cuffs
painful
to hang you up.
Very high up. And like double. And one of them was very tight. 2 of them were tight here, and they were cutting the circulation for about an hour and a half.
Blood, Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then after about an hour and a half, they loosened it a little bit. But they took it off after about 2 hours. Just tortured me for no reason, you know, because they had left the cell, and they could have taken off these arm cuffs through the window. They have like a hole there, you know?
Yeah, right, yes. Är det Jordan? Hello, my friends.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Pleasure to see you.
Yes.
My friend. Oh, my friend. Last be free, my friend here. Come. May I give me a hug here a little bit? After all these years.
Wait, my hat.
Oh, there's your hat. Okay, get it. Okay, here you go. Okay, my friend. Give me a hug. Give me a little hug. Okay, nice to see you after all this time. Oh, geez. Maybe you go to this car here. You put it probably in the back here. This one here. Okay, last we are here. much of the battle was won. Oh, my friend. Nice to see you. Oh, my friend. Okay. Yeah, I think we sit down here. That's Fredrik from the embassy. Okay. Thank you, sir. Tusind tak til her. Tusind tak. Jeg er kollega. Jeg har policy for job. Ja. Jeg er chief inspector in station i Vesterbyen.
Ja.
But I may, 1. maj er pensionister.
Okay. Vi skal lige have hans bagage, det kommer lige om lidt, så er vi klar, så kan I bare køre.
Ja, det er der.
Fun. I believe in having fun.
I know what you mean. I know.
You know?
Yes, I know.
People don't know how long my memory is. I remember an interview Sammy Davis Jr. gave many years ago.
Yes.
I think it was in the National Enquirer. It was like on the front page of the National Enquirer. You know what he said?
Yeah. No.
America stinks.
You said that?
Yeah. He said, I'm getting out of this damn country. He was just talking about, you know, all the crime and everything. You know?
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. was one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived, I think.
Yeah, he was
He
great,
was
yeah.
great dancer, he was great singer. He was fantastic. He was one of the greatest.
He was a wonderful man.
Yes, he was a wonderful man. And we are
And
agreeing
he
on that.
mimicked, singer,
That's
dancer,
right, that's right, yeah.
talk show host, actor,
Actor, everything.
everything.
He was so much talented. I never seen anyone like it.
And he's a good singer too, you know.
Very good, very good. I wish I got my toes where he had his heels. You know? He was so great. You know?
Yeah, he was. I liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him too, awful lot.
Some guy was telling a very nasty joke about him in Las Vegas. Some Jew.
Yeah.
He says, "You think you've got problems?" He says, "Sammy Davis Jr."
Yeah.
He says. He says he's black.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with
One
that.
eye.
One eye. Yes.
Jewish, and he's a midget.
Did he say that wrong?
You know, is that David Fry, that Jewish comedian?
He's a midget and he's black with one eye.
And he's Jewish.
And he's Jewish. Jesus Christ.
No, but I really like him.
I like them too, awful lot. Oh,
I like
really
his
enjoy
song. You know what his song was? His big hit. You know what? It's my motto. You know what's his name? Frank Sinatra, right?
Frank
He has
Sinatra,
My Way, right?
My Way, and Gene Martin.
Right, but I prefer Sammy Davis' Jr. song
Yes,
better. You know what
right,
his
yes.
you know what his signature song was?
No, what was that? I don't remember.
Frank Sinatra's
No.
Frank Sinatra sang My Way, right? Everybody
Yes,
knows
right.
that song. But
Yes,
Sammy
that's
Davis
right.
Jr. song was better. Sammy Davis Jr. song was I Gotta Be Me. Remember that? Huh? I gotta be me, I gotta be free. To do it or die, I gotta be me. He said, I can't be right for somebody else if I'm not right for me.
Okay.
Remember that song? I think that's better than My Way.
Yes, I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have it at home. I might. If I don't, I might
get it
buy
on
it.
somewhere.
Yes, pretty sure. Some of the Gene Martin songs
Also
are
good
really
stuff,
good stuff. I really liked him as well. You know, he was
The Rat Pack. The Rat
yeah,
Pack.
Rat Pack. Yes, that's right.
When the moon hits you,
The rise like a bigger piece of pilots amore. When the sun beating to shine, when you had too much wine, that's amore. Ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, Isabella. But you sing ding-a-ling-a-ling, ba-ba-da-da-dee-ba-ba-bee.
Then he said, when you walk down the street with
Yeah, when you walk down the street like
a smile on your face.
a smile on your face.
Si, signore, back in old Napoli.
Yeah, back
That's
in
what
the
we
old
call amore,
Napoli. That's amore.
No, that's what
when
they call
you
amore.
sing, just to sing, but when you walk down the street like a
When you walk down the street like a something.
When you walk down the street like a
Si signore, scusa me, but you see, back in old Napoli, that's amore.
That's right. Excuse me, yeah, that's one. Yeah, I have
Me,
to.
but you see,
Back
back
to
in
see,
old
back to
Napoli.
old Napoli, that's amore. Oh, your eyes like a big piece of pie, that's amore.
When the moon hits your eye like a
Hit
big
your
pizza
eyes.
pie.
Like a bigger piece of pie, that's amore. When the sun starts to shine, when you had too much wine, that's amore.
What other?
Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling-a-ling.
A lot of good songs.
Isabella. Yeah, that's many good songs with
Yeah.
Dean Martin, but
I remember him, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. You
yes,
remember those
Jerry Lewis,
movies?
yes,
Those
yes,
were good movies.
Good movies.
They were funny movies.
yes, great
But,
movies.
but Dean Martin couldn't take Jerry Lewis because Jerry Lewis was like trying to hog the attention and the movies, you know?
Right. Yeah, remember? Yeah, that's right. I remember that. That was really fantastic.
I think they had a falling out too because Jerry Lewis is Jewish and Dean Martin is Italian, you know?
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. But they were a great team. Those
They were a
guys.
funny team,
They were a
yeah,
funny
yeah.
team, you know. There's a Rat Pack. I really enjoy that. Those.
They made a lot of movies.
Yes.
Remember, they made about 5 or 6 movies.
Yes.
Many movies.
Yeah.
Everybody, all of us kids were always waiting for the next movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the 50s.
That's right, in the 50s, that's right.
Yeah.
I really enjoy them. Because they were all good singers and they were funny, you know.
Who else?
Yeah.
The Rat Pack. Dean Martin,
Yeah, that
Jerry
was,
Lewis,
Wasn't
Sammy Davis
it,
Jr.
wasn't it Tony Bennett with
Frank
it? Was
Sinatra.
Tony Bennett or Joey Bishop? Joey Bishop. He was
And that Kennedy guy
yes,
also, the Kennedy.
Yeah,
There was a Kennedy.
Yes, that's
Forget
right.
his name.
The name
Peter
was
Lawford.
Peter Lawford.
Yeah.
Peter Lawford. Peter Lawford. He was
and
married
maybe
to one
Ronald
of the-
Reagan. I don't know. Maybe he was a part of it for
Yeah?
a while. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Ah, Peter Lawford. He was one of them.
Yeah.
He was acting in Lassie, you know, the dog Lassie. Remember that one? It's a little dog, you know. Collier, you know, as a little boy, he started there, you know, and he was
Frank
married.
Sinatra was not all bad, you know.
No.
He gave a lot of money to a lot of people.
Yes.
He would read in the newspaper somebody had an accident or somebody had cancer.
That's
or
right. He was
would
really
just send
helpful
them
person. Yeah.
$10,000.
That's right.
Boom.
He was very, very
You know?
helpful. Yes.
People you never heard of.
That's
just send
right.
them $10,000.
That's right. He was.
Not for publicity or anything.
That's right. He was a kind man, you know.
Yeah.
It very. If somebody really had it bad, you know, that's true. And
But he had very
ready
bad
for it.
publicity
Yeah.
for many years because he's Italian.
Yes.
And they said he was
in the mafia.
Yeah, that the mafia controlled him
yeah.
or whatever.
That's right. There's something like that.
And he had an arrest warrant in New Jersey. He could never go to the state of New Jersey because there was an arrest warrant for him
Yeah.
because he
was
did
it?
not testify about some mafia thing.
Okay, I didn't.
So he had very bad. Everything was Frank Sinatra, Italian mafia.
Oh, it was.
Then he married a Jewish woman. Her name was
it-
Marks.
Okay.
End of all this
Yeah.
bad publicity till he died.
Yeah. Okay.
Overnight,
Yeah. All night.
they turned it off. Matilda, no? Matilda, she take me money and run Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Everybody, Matilda, she take me money and
Take
run Venezuela. Oh, now all my money is spent in vain. Da, da, da.
Oh, my money's right. Yes. I don't know.
Matilda, she take me money and run Venezuela.
Yeah.
You like that song, We Are the World? I was watching the video in the prison.
Oh, Peter, what film was that? What?
No, the song We Are the World, by, you know, that famous song about...
We got the whole...
No. We are the world, we are the children,
Yeah, we are the children.
the
That's
ones who
fantastic.
make a brighter
Yeah,
day.
that's
So
right.
let's start giving.
Yeah, that's right.
They had everybody singing that.
Yes,
they
that was fantastic. Yes.
They had Ray Charles, Bob Dylan,
Yes, all
Bruce
the greatest.
Springsteen,
Yes.
everybody. They had
Everybody
about,
was alive, you know, of the best. Yes, I remember that one. There was another one there. You got the whole world.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and you got the whole wide world. Yes, and you got the whole world. Yes, and you got the whole wide world in his hands. He got you and me, brother. In his hands, he got you and me, brother. In his hands, he got you and me, brother. In his hands, he got the whole wide world in his hands. He got a little bitty baby. In his hands, he got your little bitty baby. In his hands, he got the little pretty baby. In his hands, he got the whole wide world in his hand. He got
you and me, brother.
In his hands, he got you and me, brother. In his hands, he got you and me, brother. In his hands, he got the whole wide world in his hands. He got everybody here. In his hands, he got everybody here. In his hands, he got everybody here. In his hands, he got the whole wide world in his hands. He got you and me, sister. In his hands, he got you and me, sister.
But I like a more biting music, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Too sweet for me.
Okay, we found something more.
What's your favorite?
Right, you go.
Well, I have so many, you know.
Dylan?
Yeah, I like to. You ever hear of Chuck Jackson? Chuck Jackson. Yeah. He had the song "I Don't Want to Cry." Remember that? And he had a song "Tell him I'm Not Home." Remember that? Each night when I call you on the phone, they tell me you're not at home. I'd feel better if you told me that I was on my own instead of standing in the background. Oh yeah, tell them I'm not home. You're never home when I call.
Yeah, right. That's a good one.
I like the, you know what song you like? You like that Funny Familiar Forgotten Feelings? You know that one?
By Tom Jones.
Yeah, funny familiar forgotten feelings keep walking all over my mind.
Sex bombs, you know, sex bombs.
I must go on, be strong,
Right.
though millions of teardrops may fall. Before those funny, familiar, forgotten feelings stop walking all over my mind.
That was one.
Then he had the green grass of home. And then the old hometown looks the same as I step down from the train. And there to greet me is my mama and my daddy. Down the road I look, and there runs Mary. Hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green grass of home. Oh yeah. They don't want people to get the picture.
Yeah.
So they shut up talking about "Don't you me." You understand?
Yep.
In other words, they don't say Michael Jackson is a very bad person and he should be convicted of this child molestation because he said "Don't you me" in a song. They're too smart now. Now, before they made a big story out of it, but now they're at a different stage. Now they're really going after him, and they don't want people to get the picture, to see the real motivation.
Right.
You know? And then I explained about all the plastic surgery. I explained how he is not guilty for this because he's mentally and emotionally ill. The doctors had no right to do this to him. The doctors had no right to do this to him, even if he wanted it, because he's mentally and emotionally ill. If you come to me and say, Bobby, push me out the window, I'll give you $1,000, I'm not going to do it. I'll try to tell you to get some help, you know? That's what they had to tell Michael Jackson.
Right.
But there was a stinking American movie about the Gulf War I with George Clooney. And then one of the soldiers makes a speech in there condemning Michael Jackson for the surgery. He did it to himself.
I didn't see that.
Yes, Gulf War I. I don't know the name of the movie, but it was about Gulf War I starring George Clooney. So, you know, this is a very sad case, Michael Jackson. Because I think he's a very nice person. This is so damn commonplace in America. This is happening 1,000 times tonight while we're talking in Hollywood. They call these guys chicken hawks, you know? Chicken hawks.
Can I have one glass?
You know? They go for young kids, you know?
We were thinking, Bobby, if you could go and take a short interview before we eat. Just to
Okay.
Is that okay?
Do you need maybe more light?
Do we have any more lights?
Okay. You have a napkin? A napkin?
Yeah. Napkin, yeah. A napkin? Yeah, I can take it.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
And we have all of those ones. So that's the maximum we have.
Right. Do you think that the US government will keep coming after you, or will they give up now that you have become an Icelandic citizen?
Yeah, that's the question now, no?
What do you think?
I'm not sure, but if I know the Jews in the U.S., they may lay off for a while, and then they like sneak attacks. They may lay off until things die down, and then they may come at me with some attack I don't expect, you know? Or they may continue now, because Bush is crazy, obviously, and the Jews behind him. I really don't know, you know?
Might let you go. Might stop it.
No, they will not let me go. I mean, they may. No, they won't let me go. They will. The most they might do is stop now, because it's already gotten some publicity, you know, bad publicity for them. But at a future time, they will try something. I don't know what it will be. Could be anything, you know. There are a lot of ways to finish somebody.
By the way, does it sort of bring any change to your state of mind that you have now become an Icelander instead of American? Which you have been
Well, I'm still an American, they say, the Americans. So I guess, are you allowed to have dual citizenship?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, but no, I'm very happy to be an Icelander because, first of all, I've had all this trouble with America all these years, right? But secondly, it's dangerous to be an American now. Whenever I checked into a hotel, you know, showed my American passport, I'm always wondering, maybe these people here are connected to some Muslims, and they're going to say he's an American here, and I'll get killed or kidnapped or something, because they may think I'm against the Muslim people or whatever, you know? It's dangerous to be an American now. Huh? It's dangerous to check into a hotel and just say, I'm an American. Because
You're better off saying you're an Icelander.
Yeah, much better. Much better.
What are your plans, let's say, for the next months or even years? Are you planning to residing in Iceland, or are you planning to move somewhere else or move around?
I hope to spend time in Iceland, but I like to move around. I wouldn't, you know, spend all year in Iceland, I don't think. Yeah.
Free man.
Yeah.
There's a strange, or not a strange maybe, that But as a grandmaster in Iceland, according to law, you are entitled to a salary. And every Icelandic grandmaster in chess, they've been paid salaries, provided that you do some teaching in chess, or even possibly play for Iceland and then
No, I hate chess very much. No, I don't need the money. No, I don't need it. I'll wait. I'll skip it.
So you're not.
I hate chess. I hate chess. Really.
You hate chess?
Yeah.
So you're not planning on claiming the grandmaster salary?
No.
Why do you hate chess? Being probably and possibly the best chess player ever.
Because I know what chess is all about.
Yeah.
It's all about memorization. It's all about prearrangement.
But creativity. Yeah,
creativity is lower down on the list. Yeah.
But you did. I mean, you became world champion on creativity.
Well, first of all, this is a long time ago when I played the Spassky the first match.
Yes.
And even the second match, it's already some time ago, 15 years ago, almost 13 years ago. And chess, just the last few years, has changed dramatically with all of this computer stuff. But really, if you analyze chess objectively, very, very objectively, it's been a lousy game. Going back even to the time of Morphy, there was a lot of book.
But there still is a place for talent, for creativity. It isn't all prearrangement, all theory, all...
No, not all, of course, not all, I agree. But why do you want to get involved with something that is mainly rote and prearrangement? You know, obviously it's not all, you know, that, but the creativity is not, is like maybe number 3 on the list. The first is prearrangement, and the memorization, and then comes creativity.
Opposed to Fischer random, then you sort of put creativity first.
Right. Now, let me explain something about Fischer random. I've never made any claims that this is the greatest thing, you know, since puffed wheat or whatever, you know what I mean? I never made any claim saying that this is perfect or anything. What I say is it's much better than the old chess. Now, for example, let's say you could have 1 million chess-like games, right? Maybe 1 million of them, or 10 million would be better than Fischer random. But the point about Fischer random is it's basically the same as the old chess, except you get rid of the theory, and it's very easy to remember the rules. That's my point. You see? Now, I was just looking at a book Sammy gave me, you know, this book about Capablanca. Yes. Capablanca had a very interesting game that he proposed. I think it was 10 by 10 or something. And it had 2 kings and extra pieces, and you win the game by mating either of your opponent's kings. And it looked like a very creative game, and maybe much better than Fischer random, but it looked very intimidating, even for me, right? Yeah. The top chess player. It looked very intimidating. All these extra pieces, huge board, 2 kings. If it intimidates me, I think it will intimidate the average person much more. So there are a lot of games that you can come up with that have practical defects, not creative defects, but just defects in terms of discouraging people to learn them. You see, that's my point about Fischer random. You can learn Fischer random in 10 seconds practically. So there is no impediment. You have the same pieces, the same board. All you have to do is get an electronic shuffler, and in 1 second you have a position. But of course, you could create more creative games than Fischer random. Maybe, you know, an extra piece or a bigger board and all kind of things. But my idea, people think I'm anti-chess. No, I'm not anti-chess. I'm pro-chess. I'm trying to keep it alive. It's just the reverse.
It's very
I'm not coming up with anything radical at all.
I asked 2 Icelandic grandmasters the other day who was the best chess player ever in the history of chess. And they both said they contemplated, and I asked them objectively speaking, and they both said Bobby Fischer is the best player ever. Do you agree with that assumption?
I want to get back to Fischer random.
Don't want to answer this one? Are you the best player ever that ever was?
Well, obviously I think so, right?
Yeah. I mean, during the matches, you beat Timon of 7-0. You beat Larsen 6-0. Nobody has ever done
but first
that
of all, you have to understand something about chess. Of course, I'm better than Morphy. Why am I better than Morphy? I know, I don't say I have more talent than him, I just know much more theory, right? If he came back today and he could not open a book, let's say, right? He would do badly against, even against masters, maybe. That has nothing to do with his talent, though, right? So when you say, I'm better than so, doesn't mean anything. Because of all this theory in chess. But now, if you were to say, am I the most talented player, that's something else.
Are you the most talented player?
Well, again, I think so. But maybe, that's just my opinion. Morphy was fantastic, Capablanca was fantastic.
What about later? World champions, Kasparov?
But, as I said, I don't like to delve too much into the old chess.
Right.
Because I hate it so much. I feel by delving into it, I'm promoting it in some way. I don't want to promote this goddamn game. My only interest in the old chess, I have only one interest. To expose the prearrangement. People are living in a dream world.
But don't you think it's paradoxical coming from the best player that ever was, and now saying it is the most...
Life is like that, no?
Yeah. There is one question that I've always wanted to ask you, given the opportunity.
It's not really paradoxical.
Okay.
Chess is basically a search for truth, right? So I'm searching for the truth. The truth is chess is no good anymore.
Okay. So that's an honest opinion.
Huh?
On the table, when you're playing the chess.
Chess is no good, and it hasn't been a good game objectively for 150 years, since all this theory developed. It was a good game maybe 200 years ago, in the time of who's that guy who developed the pawns theory? What's his name? The Frenchman.
So you're saying that already when you became world champion, that already by then it was a bad game?
Yes, it was a bad game, but on the other hand, it wasn't as bad as today. No comparison, but it was a bad game. But at the time, I was fired with ambition because to win, and I was willing to overcome all of these idiotic obstacles in the way of that block a talented person from winning. But now, you see, as you get older, right? What do they say? You have to get. What is the point? As you get older, if you don't get better, you have to get smarter, no?
Yeah.
I'm much smarter now than I was then, you know? Much, much smarter. Now, I don't want to do things the hard way. Why do things the hard way when there's an easier, better way?
Did you gradually, when you were quoted as a young man saying...
The old chess is you're banging your head against the wall with this theory that you were trying to find some little improvement on move, 18 or 20. It's ridiculous. It gets harder and harder and harder. You need more and more computers. You need more and more people working for you.
And less and less talent.
Yeah, and less creative. Yeah, you know, it's ridiculous. Enjoyment, everything. Why? Why?
Did you gradually start to hate chess, or did it come suddenly?
Oh, that's a good question again. Did I gradually? I think it came gradually, but then at a certain point, I mean, I was hating it, but I didn't know it. You know what I mean? Because I was still trying to make it work. You know? But then now I realized I was gradually hating it, you know, all along.
There's one question that I've always wanted to ask.
Yeah.
You basically stopped playing competitive chess already in 1972.
Yeah.
Well, for 20 years.
Yeah.
Do you regret stopping? Do you regret not having defended your title against Anatoly Karpov in 1975?
No.
No regrets?
That I offered perfectly fair conditions. He refused to play me.
Yeah.
My conditions were absolutely fair. It's all lies.
Yeah.
For example, Capablanca played Alekhine, right?
Yeah.
In what was 27? Around there, 28? I don't know. Okay. That match was the first player to win 6 games, right? Right?
Yes.
If the match was tied 5-5, Capablanca would retain the title.
Yeah.
So Alekhine would have had to win the match by at least 6-4, right?
Yeah.
But nobody ever has complained about that match. They all say that was a great match and it was a fair match. My conditions were much fairer for the challenger. He had to be beaten 9 times to lose his chance to become world champion in the match. Absolutely fair conditions. Ridiculously fair conditions.
But almost everyone is sure that even under the conditions that you refuse to play, would have won him. Have you never felt regret not defending your title against him?
Well,
apart from the conditions, I mean, irrespective of them.
I say, I don't like the way you put it. He refused to play me. I'm the champion.
Yeah, I know.
You know. The whole thing was absurd.
It's only one void. It fell on one void, you know.
Well, no. First of all, I talked to Fred Kramer later.
Yeah.
He told me I won this vote in Amsterdam.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, but because if you will recall, they never published the breakdown of the vote.
Okay.
They never said how each country voted on my conditions. And he says I won the vote. They just said I lost it.
I thought you lost it by 1.
That's what the press says, yes. But he said it's not true because they never published how every country voted. He said I actually won the vote. They're just lying. Well, let's get back to this prearrangement, okay? If I had written my book about Karpov and Kasparov as I had intended before the Jews stole all my files, you would understand what a rotten game chess is. If you realize the extent of the prearrangement, you wouldn't have any regrets about throwing out the old game yourself.
Politics, the rotten politics of chess.
The prearrangement is it's almost all prearranged now at the higher level. It's all prearranged. I am not exaggerating this. This first Karpov-Kasparov match was prearranged move by move. Every move of every game. There's no question about this.
All through the match?
Yes, and I believe all of the Karpov-Kasparov matches were prearranged move by move. Every move, every game. But there's no question the first match was. I studied that match intently. And I still intend to write a book about it, even though the dirty Jews stole all my files. I had I had several boxes full of books on it. I had every game annotated about 18 different ways. I had about 8 or 9 books on the match, and then I had about 10 magazines that had every game annotated also. So I had about 8. I had every game annotated from fully annotated from 18 different sources. Plus I had a lot of other books, supplementary books, regarding the match. All this has been stolen by the filthy Jews at Beacons, and also when my mother died, they stole the books I had with her. We're talking about many dozens of books.
So you think it's possible to prove that the match was prearranged?
Yes, it's obviously prearranged, no question. Look, unless you think I'm crazy, which I'm not, the Jews say I'm crazy, I'm not, I'm perfectly sane. Anybody can analyze my voice, and you will see I'm telling the truth. Now ask the Jew bastard Kasparov, or ask Karpov, is their match prearranged? Ask it live, in the same conditions as this. You will see they are lying. You will see they are lying. Any half-assed expert will be able to tell you they're lying. With any kind of, even without a voice lie detector, but especially with a voice lie detector, you know? They are lying. It's obviously prearranged, the first match. So plain. These people are crooks on a grand scale.
Yeah, I understand, yes. But it's hard to prove. I mean,
No, it's not hard to prove at all. I mean, it's not really, no. It's so obvious. No, I mean, you cannot prove it necessarily having a recording of Karpov and Kasparov talking, but like that. But you can prove it just the way you can prove in a trial that something happened without the guy, without having a recording somewhere of his confession privately or whatever, you know. No question. No, it's obvious as hell. Obvious as hell.
To a totally different thing,
Yeah.
Bobby. What about religion? Have you kept your faith? Is there a God somewhere?
I'm not into religion at all right now, no.
Not at all.
No. I think all the holy books are bunk.
But you think is there a God somewhere, do you think?
Well, I think the term God is a nonsense word, like Rajneesh says, the Indian guru. I think this is true. God is a nonsense word because, I mean, it doesn't have any one definition, first of all, right? Everybody has a different definition of what it means. But we don't know what's in the universe, no?
Is there a higher power?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe there may be more advanced people, more advanced beings, you know? And they may communicate with us. I don't know. Or, you know, it's all very mysterious. But I don't believe any of these holy books, let's put it that way. I think these books, I've completely outgrown them. They are all childish nonsense. Every so-called holy book is childish nonsense.
you believe so?
Yes. I've studied the Bible. I know the Bible quite well. I've also looked over some other so-called holy books.
Yes.
You know, there's so many so-called holy books. There's the Book of Moroni, there's the Quran. I've looked through these. They're all rubbish.
Were you a religious man at any point in time? Did you believe in God?
Well, I was following for a while, yeah.
Not anymore.
No. It's very simplistic, you know. Too simplistic. I really believe this did begin in June. At first I thought maybe it began even a few days before, or even the day they had me kidnapped, arrested me. But I think it probably did begin in June 2004. Because I was going with Miyoko. We go to coffee shops for tea, you know? And I started to notice some strange people, old guys, sitting around just endlessly. They had like a briefcase, they seemed well dressed, doing nothing when I was there. And this happened more than once. Didn't just happen once. Once you let it go. But it was happening continuously, starting around early June. And I started to wonder, well, maybe I thought these were either journalists, or I didn't know, some kind of secret police or whatever. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But you have to live your life, right? So you have to ignore these things, right?
This?
Oh, yeah, this one, okay. Yeah. The only thing they could possibly be talking about when they say my passport is revoked.
I'm sorry.
The only thing they possibly could be talking about, I think, is this December 11th, 2003 letter from Theodore Allegra. He's the consul of the United States of America of the U.S. Embassy in Manila, the Philippines. Now, this letter I was given after I was arrested. The next day, I had never heard of it. And I never seen the letter, never heard anything about it, ever. Okay, so I think this I suppose would be their excuse for arresting me, but this letter is totally absurd. Totally absurd. First of all, it has no original signature, just a photocopy. You see? That is not, I was presented a photocopy of this letter. Yeah? It has no address to me. It just has Embassy of the United States of America on it. No address to me. And it has came with no envelope, no postmark, nothing. It was just presented to me. Well, first they physically forced me to, the guards. They came into my cell, dragged me to meet this guy called Peter, who supposedly is from the U.S. Embassy. He showed it to me at a distance. He didn't give it to me. And then a few minutes later, the guards gave me this letter. So this all happened on July 14th, 2004, the day after I'm arrested. I'm a prisoner already, right? And they give me this letter, it has no original signature, has no address to me, and it has no envelope, no postmark, nothing. It's
what you're saying is that this is not, in your opinion, a photocopy of a signed original?
In my opinion, this letter was not written when they say it was written, and there may not even be an original period. I think it's entirely possible they asked Allegra to sign the letter, and he refused because they wanted him to predate it back to December 11th, 2003. I think all of this, the decision to arrest me and everything, came much, much later. I think in June or July even of 2004. So there was no revocation, there was nothing until then. You see?
And there was no attempt made to get this letter from December 11th, supposed letter from December 11th to you at all?
No, absolutely not, no. And all of the indications are that there was no revocation on December 11th because I was traveling all over the world for many months after this.
I mean,
so this entire arrest is just based on lies by the U.S. government, and there's some letters that I got later, much later, that were sent by the U.S. government to to the Japanese Ministry of Justice. I got copies of those letters. But all of this, I believe, started in June or July. The decision to try and get me arrested by the U.S. government started in June or July. I think this is quite clear.
But why would they date it backwards, the letter, if
Because it ties in with this arrest. This says, when I entered April 15th, 2004, I entered, my passport was not valid. You see? They wanted to say, not only isn't your passport valid, but you were traveling on a revoked passport. You know, sin of sins, right? But, you know, but first place it was not revoked. Second place I wasn't traveling on a revoked passport. You know.
And, I mean, were you hard to get hold of? I mean,
oh yeah, that's a good question. Later on, I got these letters from the U.S. government to the Japanese Ministry of Justice, and the U.S. government simply lied to the Ministry of Justice about that. All right, thank you. And this, let's see. Okay, I'll put this here. This is a mess here. This is, oh my God. Okay, here. Later on, in about August, sometime in August, I got letters from photocopies of letters that the U.S. Embassy in Japan, in Tokyo, had written to the Ministry of Justice. There are 2 letters. Okay. The first letter was allegedly written June 8th, 2004, to the Director General Immigration Bureau, Ministry of Justice, Tokyo, Japan. The second letter was allegedly written August 11th, 2004. See, so the first letter was written before I was arrested. Actually, it was kidnapped by the Japanese government. The second letter was written after, right? August 11th, 2004. But in the August 11th letter, 2004, this August 11th letter, 2004, for the Embassy of the United States of America to the Director General Immigration Bureau, Ministry of Justice. Dear Director General, I am writing in response to the inquiries made to us on August 10th regarding the U.S. government's revocation of the U.S. passport issued to Robert James Fischer. Okay, so they're writing to the Japanese government. I guess the Japanese government had some questions for them, but here they just tell a flat-out lie. It says Mr. Fischer's passport was properly revoked on November 21st, 2003. Actually, they're claiming that it was revoked on November 21st, 2003, and then I was notified on December 11th, 2003. I guess that's what they're claiming, okay? Mr. Fischer's passport was properly revoked on November 21st, 2003, prior to his April 15th entry into Japan. However, we were unable to properly advise him of the revocation until he was located in Japan on July 14th, 2004. That's the day after I'm arrested, see? I mean, kidnapped, arrested. But later on, this was, I think, October 15th, 2004, they had an alleged passport hearing in the prison where I was, which I did not attend because I had written them telling them before I would attend such a passport hearing, I had to be freed from my illegal detention, I had to get back my destroyed passport, and I had to get issued a new passport. You see, the idea would be to set a level playing field. Okay, but they refused and they went ahead with this hearing, but I did not attend. You know, my lawyer attended, but not only to protest that this was not a legitimate hearing. You see, now, but any event, something good came out of the hearing because the U.S. government gave several exhibits. And one of the exhibits completely destroyed their case. I mean, they had no case at all, but I mean, what case they pretended to have, let's say. This is a copy of my 1997 passport application that I made in Bern, Switzerland, to get my passport that was later on destroyed. You see, and on this passport application, this was made. I think it was January 24th, 1997. Okay? On the passport application, I gave my P.O. box. You know, this is a bad copy, but anyway, you can see P.O. Box 50917, Pasadena, California, 91105, USA. So they had an easy way to notify me all along. If they had this Allegra letter, why didn't they just send it to my P.O. box, right? What more natural place to send me a letter revoking my passport than to the address I gave on my passport application, right? But they didn't send it there. And they admit they didn't send it there because they say we were unable to properly notify him until he was located in Japan on July 14, 2005.